If you've talked to a lease purchase or owner-operator recruiter recently, you've heard this line: we guarantee you $2 a mile. And on the surface, that sounds solid, not cheap, not risky, guaranteed, right? Now, we're going to do this video for my dry van and my reefer guys because you guys are the ones that really get into trouble with this the most. But today, we're going to do something that almost never gets done in trucking. We're going to define what is actually guaranteed, what is not guaranteed, and what that means for a driver's real income. This is Big Rig Nation. This is Driver Accountability Media. And today, we're auditing the $2 a mile guarantee. Now, for my owner-operator guys and my lease purchase guys, this is where this $2 a mile gets you guys into a lot of trouble and into a lot of these really predatory companies. When a carrier-controlled lease or an owner-operator program says $2 a mile is guaranteed, here's what this actually means, okay? A lot of times it's paid miles only, often loaded miles only, dispatch miles, not odometer miles. A lot of times you're subject to freight availability, subject to compliance, and subject to dispatch decisions. So let me say this clearly, okay? And listen to what I'm telling you. The rate may be guaranteed, but the miles and the freight are not. You see, drivers don't fail on rates. They fail on missing miles and when those fixed bills keep piling in and coming in on top of you. So we're going to do this really simple and give you a mathematical breakdown. It's very easy to do. A lot of you are going to say, well, I make more than $2 a mile. I make $2.25. I make $3 a mile, $2.50. You can use any number that you want to, but we're going to keep this simple so everyone can learn, all right? And these are the numbers that a lot of recruiters use across the nation also. Now, let's assume this is the best possible week. Let's say it's $2 a mile and 2,500 paid miles. That's $5,000 gross. Let's keep it really simple. That's the number that a lot of recruiters sell to drivers. That's the numbers that are shown in orientation. But here's the problem. Gross is not income, okay? They do this a lot. Gross is just the top line before the reality shows up. So let's bring reality back into the classroom because that's what's most important. You can't believe all this hype about gross. Okay, so you can use any numbers that you want because you know what your lease numbers are. So we're going to do some conservative lease numbers right now. We're going to make this, like I said, simple for everyone. But if you want to use yours later, go for it. Do it. So let's say a truck payment of $1,300 a week. Truck insurance, $250. Maintenance escrow, $200. Your plates, your ELD, your admin fees, let's say $75. That's $1,825 in fixed costs, okay? And this is before the truck even moves. And this is at the beginning of every single week. Now let's talk about your fuel. Same thing. We're going to use conservative numbers. Let's say 2,500 miles, 6.5 miles per gallon at $4 a gallon. That's about $1,538 in fuel. So now let's add all this up. You've got $1,825, and you have the fuel, the $1,538. That's $3,363 in weekly expenses before anything happens. Before we go any further, I want to stop right here and say thank you to everyone that's watching this. And please subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button because this right here is where math truly matters in trucking. Over 100,000 owner-operators and lease operators across the United States have been scammed out of tens and tens of thousands of dollars. Not because they're lazy, not because they're bad drivers, but because they were sold marketing instead of math. And the reason why we're doing this is really simple. It's to educate drivers, to show them real numbers, to explain what actually matters before someone signs their name on a contract. So stop listening to the marketing. Stop believing in what people are telling you from these companies, to the recruiter pitch, and start doing the math because the math will always tell you the truth. All right, let's get back to it, and thank you. Okay, now this is where the math starts getting really good. Those bills we just talked about, whether the freight is hot or it's completely dead, they're there. They're not going anywhere. Now let's subtract your $5,000 gross minus your $3,363. That leaves you with $1,637 before taxes. That's before deadhead, before detention, before downtime, before breakdowns, before missed dispatches, and before home time. And see, here you thought we were done. Now let's turn that into the only number that actually really matters, okay? So let's do 1,637 divided by 2,500 miles. That's about 65 cents per mile. We're not even close to $2. It's 65 cents, and that's on a perfect week. Full miles, no problems, no gaps. You see, this is what you guys need to understand. That's where your guarantee stops. This is the structural problem with carrier-controlled leases. Here's the structural problem with carrier-controlled leases, whether you are a lease purchase guy or an owner-operator. Drivers have fixed weekly obligations on both sides. Income is variable, and your dispatch a lot of times is controlled, even though they sell you freedom. When freight slows, the truck still gets paid, the insurance still gets paid, the carrier still protects its margins. Drivers always say the same thing next: I'll just run harder. More miles means more money. And yes, if you run 4,000 miles instead of 2,500, your net per mile does go up, even running 4,000 miles a week at $2 a mile. After fuel, after fixed costs, you're still clearing about 93 cents per mile before your taxes. And look at what it costs you to get there. More hours, more fuel, more wear, more risk. You didn't fix the structure, you just worked harder inside of it. Running harder doesn't solve a bad pay model, it only delays the damage. And some of you are not, we did this conservatively with our math. Some of you are getting crushed out there. So the risk lands on you, the driver. That's not ownership. This is what we call risk transfer. So before signing any lease or owner-operator program advertising a guaranteed rate, ask yourself one question: is this profitable on average weeks? Because if it only works when everything goes right, it doesn't work. You need to give them about 2 weeks to see if it does. And if it's not after 2 weeks, you need to find yourself another home. A $2 a mile guarantee sounds good until you define that guarantee, until you subtract the costs, until you run the numbers on an average week. Big Rig Nation exists to do what recruiters won't. We show you the math. Because in trucking, a guaranteed rate doesn't mean guaranteed profit. Next video, if you want to know what a driver actually needs to survive a $1,300 truck payment, that's what we're going to show you guys next.